Well, hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka Blitz, and I'm back with another little bit of love and excitement, controversy, talk, chat, topical opinions, that kind of thing about Blitz. This is a gaming channel, obviously, and if you're interested in tanks, if you're interested in first-person shooters, stick around, I'll show you some stuff. This is the 183, and isn't it just the topic du jour for the moment? Now, I put a video out yesterday that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek about the 183 and how it's just ridiculous, how it really is ridiculous, how you don't have to do anything with it. You can just kind of sit there and pump shells from the safety of your own spawn. I had quite a few people take umbrage with this, and I kind of agree with them. The video was a little bit skewed towards that thought of just sitting in spawn pressing the button, but I wasn't always just sitting in spawn pressing the button. And I had other people tell me that the tank was a lot harder to drive and I wasn't putting in the misses and all that kind of thing, so which I don't agree with at all. I think the tank's incredibly easy to drive, both in terms of win rate and in terms of stacking up damage. But if you want to drive it like a potato and just sit there in spawn and do nothing, it's still easy to drive. So what I did was this morning, I got up, came upstairs, into the attic, into the man cave, and played 5 games, very, very straight, on the North American server, with my lovely 200 plus ping and little bits of lag, and just sat in spawns. And I played it like an inexperienced player who just wants big damage, playing with one hand, would play it. I just drove to areas where I knew there'd be tanks and pressed the button. And those areas are the spawn, let's be honest. And I played it very much with that mission statement. So I'm playing it in a manner where I'm playing it against the flow of my team. Like, I'm not always helping the team. I'm just driving to the camp spot, regardless of whether I have support or if it's a good idea. Did this for 5 games. It's a small sample size, so I completely agree that small sample size theatre does apply, but it is a very, very good indicator of what I feel is an issue for Tier 10 at the moment. And I want to be on record that I don't have the answers, guys. And I don't think that just a blanket nerf or a removal of this tank is guaranteed to be the answer. I just know that it is encouraging a hugely, massively non-dynamic and static playstyle. And you see this a lot in the PC variant of the game. Now, I've cut these games down because basically it's just a lot of it is faff. 2 of the games are very, very quick because, I mean, you can see here, I've driven to a flank and I'm sitting there in front of other tanks and I'm playing this just like super Mr. Potato. I'm driving forward into the teeth of the red defense, even when it's obvious that it's not a good idea. And the game's going to be over for me very, very quickly, and I'm only going to fire 2 shots. I think that's the key. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. It's not hard. It's very, very easy. I'm going to fire 2 shots. They're going to be 2 Hesh rounds, and I'm going to do 2,600 damage. I'm going to have driven 330 meters. I'll fire 2 rounds, and I'll top out the DPM, the damage numbers on my team. That's troubling in and of itself. I was in combat for literally a reload. I was in combat for like 1 reload. Very next game, we're on Fort Despair, and I'm going to do the same thing. Despite the fact that the enemy team has no heavies, 3 TDs, 3 mediums and a light, I'm going to drive here very much on my own. There's a Leo 1 behind me, but he's not really of any consequence to the outcome. And I am going to summarily punish a T-54 who has the timidity to actually go and cap. There's no one there. Uncontested B. I don't know who's spotted, but the T-54 has to feel pretty confident that there's no one there. I'm going to blow him up. There you go. He's gone. This is the next game, right? Game number 3. We've done 2,400, 2,600, and now we're going to do 3,300 on 1 reload. This Bat Chat's going to push in. I'm going to Hesh him as well. I've driven 230 meters the entire game, including that little jiggling and wiggling around there. And I die. We win the game. Anyway, I top the damage numbers again. 3,300 damage, 2 shots fired. Battle went for 3 minutes 14. It only went for a minute and 11 for me. And realistically, the It went for 25 seconds total of combat. It was really exciting stuff. But this is what I'm saying. It's not a hard tank to play. It's an incredibly easy tank to play. And I think they've got to do something. And I'm going to show you why this is important for me. I'm going to play these games through, the 5 games. I'll play them through for you. It's only going to take 10 or so minutes. And then I'm going to show you some data off Blitz stars. And it's not just that the tank is kind of broken, but it is. I had people tell me that the KV2 is just as bad, and it's not. And I'll tell you why. This tank's way more mobile than the KV2. It's way more accurate than the KV2. And it's those two things combined that allow it to sit in spawn and reliably farm damage. Reliably. It also has the added benefit of having a HESH shell that can pen up to 246 millimeters. And that means that you can take a lot of tanks like, that's a heavy tank, right? And I've taken most of his hit points with a HE round. Someone else is going to come and hit him because we're in spawn. Like, there's heaps of people around. I'm then going to put a HE, an AP shell into the side of this IS-7, who is an incredibly strong heavy tank. Okay? The KV2 doesn't have that pen. It doesn't have that ability. It's got really, really bad penning AP rounds. It's got AP premium ammunition that's still bad penning and does less damage than an average AP round does. It's 1147 with an AP round into the side of an IS-7. Just get wrecked. I mean, I'm still in my spawn. This is why people play this tank like this, because they get rewarded for it. There is no downside for me right now. They have 2 183s. We've got 1 183. So there's 3 183s in a 14 tank game. There is in fact 6 TDs in this game, so it's nearly half the team makeup is made up of one class, and that's not a regular. You guys know that. And their 183s are in spawn. I'm in my spawn. I'm going to hit him. What's the meterage here? Let's see the meterage. We're looking at 400 meters, nearly 385. Got to roll into 3 hit points. He's in his spawn. I'm in my spawn. All the people that push die. All the people that camp don't. Like, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. I actually have to leave my spawn here. It's almost embarrassing. The 183 has turned this into a real meta, and people are playing a lot of TDs. And Tier X, thankfully, is the main culprit. You are able to play all the other tiers, and it's refreshing. It is movement orientated. It is a dynamic game. PC has a lot of camping and a lot of artillery. Now, artillery has such large amounts of damage potential. And the 183 is being played exactly like that. And it's creating a meta at tier 10 where anyone that pushes forward versus multiple TDs is in severe danger of just getting deleted. Unless you're a good player, right? Unless you are a good player. Because you are the only target. You become the focus of the team. I did 5k damage just in spawn. I mean, I tidy it up and we get another 459 or something here, but we're already over 5k and we never, that's without leaving our spawn. Like, what is the incentive for someone to push? Like this 183, Eduardo 09, right? Francisco, my mate from Premo, Let's Make People Hate Us More, is on the other team. He is a good player, right? He pushed in a Jaegeru. Eduardo sat at the back in a 183 and did 3,700. Francisco got gangbanged by 4 people and did 900. I mean, I did 5.5k and I took just next to no risks there. That was so ridiculous. So the meta is being heavily influenced by this. We're seeing more and more TDs pop up at tier 10. And this is like, if you're looking at a roadmap, and this is good, like, because originally look at this guy. He's in an AMX 5120. He tried to cap A. More fool him. 40 seconds in, he's got hit for 1,600. He's gone. I mean, he's dead. He got hit by a Jaegeru and some other tank. And that's all his hit points gone. Like, thanks. I don't know where this goes anyway, but it's irrelevant. You've got the point by now. This is now just window dressing. I played 5 games. I averaged 3,300 damage. We won 4, lost 1. And I never really took a single risk in all those games. Now, bad players probably wouldn't be able to shell swap as quickly. They wouldn't be able to read the map and know these spots to go to. But, I mean, this E100's pushing up and he's going to get smashed for it. Like, where is the incentive for him? I don't even have to worry about him. Like, I'm just looking for my next target, waiting for my reload to finish. Where was I? So, it used to be mediums, and it was a joke. And I said as much at the time. You had mediums that could play as a heavy tank. The T-54 was one of the best tier 10 heavies going around. They had heat pen of 330 millimeters. And I'm not being facetious then. I played 1,000 games, 1,500 games in the T-54. I'm as much to blame as anyone. I farmed win rate and damage from those tanks. They had incredible penetration numbers. They had incredible armor. And you would roll into a tier 10 game and you would see more than half the team rolling either 62As, Object 140s, or if they were playing a tier 9 tank, a T-54. It was terrible. It was very, very frustrating to try and play anything else. There was no real reason to play a heavy when you had medium tanks that had better DPM, better armor, and better camo and better mobility, and could do all the things that a heavy could do. And now we've moved away from that. Wargaming did a really, really good job. We had a real move towards heavy tanks. But a few of the things that have stuffed this up for us are calibrated shells. They have to change calibrated shells, I'll tell you that right now, because getting 10% benefit to heat and HE, I mean, this guy's having a go at me, and the ironic thing is I'm making a video about how bad camping is, and if you watch the channel at all, you'd know I'm a YOLO clown. I die all the time pushing at inopportune and silly moments. Let's have a look at this. These are the stats from Blitz Stars. Now, I just donated again. I've donated a couple of times to these guys because I use this tool every day. It's an amazing site. You need to use it. Let's have a look at the tank data. And I want to specifically point out a few crazy things to you about the meta and about this tank that we're driving, where people are saying it's a tough tank to drive, all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's insane. But let's have a look at the tank data anyway. Last 90 days, and I think if you looked at it, or we could look at it from the last 30 days, this would be even more pronounced. But let's look at the last 90 days win rates. And you're going to note that the 183 isn't particularly special. The mouse is really good. The 183 is one of the worst tanks for win rates. It's in fact 5th worst for win rates. Let's have a look at damage per battle. The 183 has the 3rd most damage per battle. You want to see something crazy? Guess what the last tank in the entire tier 10 meta for the past 90 days in for spots per battle. Let's see. Tank that does the most spots is the Leopard 1. Tank with the least is a 183 by a massive margin. So it's got one of the biggest damage numbers, one of the worst win rates because people just play it like a clown, and it does absolutely no spotting. You want to know what the most played tank in the last 90 days at tier 10 is? If you haven't guessed it already, then you haven't been watching. And by an order of magnitude, twice as much as the T-57 Heavy. Look at those numbers. So the least spots, one of the most damage numbers, highest damage numbers, and easily the most games played. Like, it's as much as the Grill and the 57 Heavy put together. And that's numbers 2 and 3 on the list. Like, it's a real thing. The meta with this tank at tier 10 is stagnant and undynamic. I don't hate the tank. I hate the way it's used. I don't use it like the way I've played there. Like, that is not how I generally use it. I generally have a real go in the tank, but you don't have to. You can sit back and just press the button and do damage. 5 games, 4 wins, 1 loss, 3,300 average damage. Get wrecked with the idea that that is a tough tank to play and that it does not just benefit from completely undynamic and boring gameplay. For me, that's a problem. It's not a problem for everyone. It's the most played tank for a reason. People obviously enjoy this style of gameplay. Maybe that's what we've got to look forward to at tier 10. Maybe we've come full circle, and maybe this is just the gameplay we deserve. But I know that I play tier 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and even 9, and I have a far more enjoyable experience. I hope that that's just me, because I want the game to be successful and I want it to flourish. I've got a vested interest in that, and that's why I'm making this video today. Have a think about it. Leave your comments there. I'm completely open to the fact that not everyone is going to agree with me on this, but I feel like I've done a fairly good job of illustrating my point. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.